Hello, Math 6 students. This is Mrs. Spence, and this week we are looking at congruent statements, and we're going to be looking at geometric markings and creating congruent statements based on those markings. All right, so let's start by looking at some reminders when it deals with congruency of shapes or polygons. So the first thing that is very, very important is that order matters. The order of your statements that you create tell us which sides are corresponding and which angles are corresponding. So it's definitely very important to keep the order in mind because it will be a determining factor for us. So order matters, very important. The next thing is that you are going to follow the markings to create your statements. And it can be whichever pattern you choose. So you're going to see, if we're looking at this example here, the one congruent dash mark matches up with this corresponding side that has the one congruent dash mark. But if we're writing a statement, we're going to look at the order, and the order from A to B is going from 2 dash marks, and from B to C to 1 dash mark to the 3. All right, so we would need to repeat that order. So 2 to 1 to 3 in order to make sure that we are writing our congruent statement, remembering that order matters, and following the corresponding angles and the corresponding sides to create our statement. So we're going to be following the markings. It's kind of like following the trail, looking for similar markings that match up. And lastly, just remembering that congruent polygons. If we have a statement here that says that this triangle is truly congruent to another triangle that we're going to write, that means that their sides are all equal to the other corresponding side. Not that they all three are equal, like an equilateral triangle, but that this side equals one side and the second side equals the same side over here, third side, etc. And so not just their sides are congruent, but their angles are also congruent. So congruent polygons will have congruent sides and congruent angles. All right, so keeping these reminders fresh in our mind here, let's do this worksheet together. All right, so this first one, we are trying to say that these triangles are congruent. And if we are looking at them and we didn't already know that they were congruent, we could say, yes, these are congruent because we have a side that equals another side here. And I'm going to highlight these. So this side with the 1 dash mark is going to be equal to this side of the 1 dash mark. Okay, and then we have, let's get a different color here. The 2 dash mark DE matches up with the 2 AB. And thirdly, let's do purple. The third matches up with the third over here. All right, so AB we have over here was in our green. So which line segment is green on our other one? And that would be our DE, okay? Now, ED or DE. So let's look at our markings. Let's follow our breadcrumb of markings here. So we did A to B. So we went from our 90 degree to our 2. So same thing over here. Go from your 90 to your 2. That would be this direction. So it's going to be DE. All right, and then obviously if we're going in this direction, we're going to keep going and it would be F. But let's do our highlighting to make sure that we did that correctly. All right, so on this side here, AB, we're going to look at BC. BC is highlighted in yellow. So our next thing should be the yellow marking here. So let's check. BC, EF. Yes, and it went in the proper direction that way. All right, and then the final check would be the CA. CA, FD should be highlighted. Yes, in purple, and it is. Okay, so you can see that there's a couple different ways that you can do that. This is the way that I do it. I just find my starting point and then follow the same direction using my geometric markings. All right. If you are a visual learner, those colors and highlighting or colored pencils are going to be so helpful to visually see which ones match up. So it's worth it to take the time to come through and say, okay, my 2 goes with my 2 and my 1, and it doesn't matter which one you color, which one goes with my 1 and my 3 to my 3. All right, and they're starting with UV. So is congruent to triangle, put your triangle symbol. UV goes from 2 to 1. So where's our 2? Here. And go to the 1. And yellow are matching up. So good start. So from the 2, this is our starting spot. X to the Y, which means that our last one is going to be to the Z. And we can see that if we started here, we would be going this way. VW does match up purple and purple and green and green. All right. Now, just looking at this, I could also say, what if I wanted to know the measurement of the angles, okay? So the measurement of the angle, let's say U, will be congruent, because remember, if these polygons are congruent, their sides are congruent, but also their angles are. So let's look at U. U is the 2 geometric markings for the angles. So it should match up with X. And if we look at our statement, U is in the first spot, and so is X. So very good. All right, we could also look at, let's say, V. So angle V would be congruent to whichever one has just the 1, which is Y, angle Y. And if we look at our statement, V comes second, and so does Y. And you could do the same with your W here and your Z, the 3 and the 3. All right. Let's go on to the number 3, the next one. All right, again, if you want to take just a second to highlight. 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3, and then let's follow the direction. So they're starting with P and going to Q. So P to Q would be 3 to 2. So find the 3 and go to the 2. Ooh, so we're going this way. From the 3 in the angle, from the 3. Nope, I went the wrong way. Whoop, from the 3 to the 2 in the angles. Now that's something very important to look at. We're looking at angle. I just started going from line to line, when over here I went from angle to angle. So make sure you're cautious about that. So the 3 hash marks in the angles to the 2, 3 to 2, angle. All right, so triangle, ST, which means we're going to come back around. R would be the congruence statement. So PQR, yellow, green, purple. STR, yellow, green, purple. Good job. All right, and we go to number 4. And I'm going to start again with highlighting. The 1 to the 1, the 2 with its corresponding side over here with 2, and 3 with its corresponding side of the 3 hash marks there. We're looking at KL, and KL is the 3 angle hash marks to the 2 angle hash marks. So let's find our 3 and go to the 2. That would be going this direction. So we're going to go this way around. FGE. Whoops. All right. So let's check. We have KLM, so yellow to green to purple. F, G, E, yellow to green to purple. All right, so now it's your turn. Why don't you finish up numbers 5 through 8 and see how you do.